I finally realized it, part 2 of 3. A few meters away, I saw Sarah sitting on the floor. She was waiting for me. As I got out in the building, she walked quickly. She hugged me and kissed me. "How are you doing?" she asked. I responded, "Terrible." "Sorry to hear that," said Sarah. I said nothing. She said, "Is there anything that I can do to make you happy today?" "Nothing," I responded. "The problem is Camelia. Unless you can help me to get in contact with her, my day will be great." "Nick, my honey, there is nothing that I can do about that," responded Sarah. "Camelia does not care about you. But don't you know that there is someone who cares about you and loves you? She feels pain for you. She suffers for you. She is ready to show you what love is all about." "I don't know," I responded. "If you do not know," she responded as she got closer to me to touch my chest, "I am the one, Nick. I have been suffering for you since the day that I met you. I used many different strategies to show that to you. You could not get it. You could not understand." "It is okay," I responded to her. I did not want to hurt her. There was nothing else than that I could say at that time. I kept imagining about what it had been like to see that I could not get in contact with Camelia. That statement kept going through my mind, where I kept saying to myself, "I love Camelia, I love Camelia, and I love Camelia." She smiled. She hugged me and kissed me. I called Betty. Betty told me that Camelia was great. "She is not interested in you," said Betty. "There is someone who cares about you. She loves you. She is ready to do whatever it takes to fight for you in whatever circumstance." "Okay," I said. "Would you like to know who this is?" said Betty. "Not really," I responded suspiciously. "Anyway, I am going to tell you. I cannot keep this secret to myself anymore. It had to be revealed. Sarah is the one, my friend," said Betty. "She loves you." I responded, "I have to take some time to think about that." The next day had come. I stepped by Camelia's room. I wanted to talk to her. After less than a quarter of an hour, she got out. She was about to go to class. I knew. I knew better. I knew for sure how she dressed when she would go to class. "Hey," I said to her as she walked. "Hey," she responded. "How are you doing?" I responded, "I am doing wonderful." I was smiling as a way to show my happiness to her. I could not believe that Camelia talked to me. I had been looking for that for a long time. My day would be great. It was the best moment of my life so far. That was, I got in contact with a girl who made me feel somehow different that any other girl never made me feel and would never make me feel. "May I talk to you for a while?" asked Camelia. I was happier when she said that. As a result, I said to her with a smile on my face, "Yes, it is a pleasure." "I talked to you today," said Camelia, "because of Sarah. I feel someone's pain, and I want you to take that in consideration. I feel my friend's pain. I feel Sarah's pain." Camelia told me that she was talking to Sarah yesterday. Sarah told her that she was suffering for me. Camelia went on to say that she could feel, perceive, or sense Sarah's pain when Sarah explained that to her. Sarah's eyes were watering with tears. "She really loves you, Nikki," said Camelia. I said, "Okay. Please do me a favor," said Camelia. "It is painful to me to see that my friend is suffering. Please her. Do something." I took a deep breath and said nothing. "Just give me some time to think about that," I responded after a couple of seconds. "Take that in consideration, please," said Camelia. I said nothing. I took deep breath. I stayed speechlessly. "I have to go to class," she said. "We'll talk later." I went home. I laid down on my bed, continuing to take deep breath. I kept thinking about what I should do in a situation like that. The comforter on the bed was so fluffy and soft, the pillows on the bed were overwhelming, and the softness against my skin was unbelievable. As a result, I fell asleep. Camelia and I became friends. She became friends with me because she wanted me to go with Sarah. We talked to each other on the phone almost every day, going out sometimes. We talked to each other about our personal experiences. I used to tell her about how I had been hurt in the past. She used to also tell me about how she had been hurt. As a matter of fact, she continued to try to convince me that I should go with her friend, Sarah. I have to think about that, I used to say to her. It felt like I had found a piece of me that was missing the whole time when I was around Camelia. I felt complete. My heart beat as if it wanted to come out of my body so that I could hand it to Camelia. I was blind to the bad qualities of Camelia. The qualities that I saw were all good and beautiful, and I did not care if she did not have a nice smile or clear skin. I looked beyond all that. I seemed to appreciate the smaller things in life when I did them with her. I felt like I would want to give to her everything, things that I did not even possess, no matter how much it was, and I did not expect anything in return from her but her love, her heart. The sound of her voice pierced me every time I heard it. But I felt embarrassed when I was around her. I felt petty. I felt embarrassed to tell her how I felt. I wondered, what would she said if I told her how I felt? How would she react if I said those 3 magical words, "I love you," to her? How would she feel around me? Would she feel comfortable? Would she feel uncomfortable? I felt embarrassed to tell her how I felt. That became the most painful thing that I could ever experience in my life. I felt incapable of telling her how I felt, how I loved her. I called my mother one day. I told her that I fell in love for a girl, but I felt intimidated and petty to tell her how I felt because she came from the upper class. I came from the lower class. I felt embarrassed. "I am a poor," I said to my mother. "She may belittle me." "Do not think like that," my mother responded. "Love does not know if you are a poor or a rich. It does not have any barrier. It does not care who you are. It makes all of us feel the same way. It makes us blind, making us forget about status or social class. If she loves you, she will not care. If she belittles you, she does not love you." "Okay," I said to my mother. She said, "Tell her how you feel. Tell her that you love her. Do not be embarrassed. Do not feel petty." I usually called Betty, telling her secretly that my heart did not belong to Sarah. I could feel within a part of me that my heart made the wrong choice. Another part, on the other hand, felt that it belonged to the person that I truly admired or loved. Betty used to tell me that Camelia did not like me. I made the wrong choice. "She is now friends with you because of Sarah," said Betty. One day, I called Camelia, and I told her that she was the one that my heart and my soul really wanted. She was the one who preoccupied my dreams. I felt that my heart did not belong to any other one. I could not help myself. I could not fight this feeling anymore. "I love you," I said to Camelia. "I have been suffering for you for so long. Since the first day that I met you, it has been. I need your love to survive. I need your love in my life. I need your hands so that I can move on." "Laugh out loud," responded Camelia. "You fall in love for the wrong person. I am not the one. Sarah is the one. Go tell her those sweet melodies. They are not for me. Please take that pain and that love in consideration," I said to her. "I am going to do something." "I will call you tomorrow," said Camelia. The next day had come. Sarah called me and told me that she knew what I told Camelia. That would not stop her from continuing to love me. She would stand until the end. She would like to have me one day and fall in love with me until the end of time. She would wait until she had to use her last breath to tell me that she loved me. I said nothing. After a couple of seconds, "I'll call you back," I said to Sarah. I called Camelia. I continued to pursue her. She told me that she did not even like me. She wanted me to leave her alone. "Sarah is the one who loves you," said Camelia. "I am not the one." Camelia went on to say that she talked to me because of Sarah but not because she wanted to hear the stuff about how I felt. If you do not stop, said Camelia, I'll stop talking to you. The only thing that I can do is that I can stay friends with you. Leave me alone. After a couple of weeks, on a December day, Sarah called me and told me that she could not help herself. She needed my help. She could not wait on me anymore. Her heart was currently breaking into pieces. She definitely needed me in her life. I am coming to see you tomorrow, I said. Please give me this short period of time so that I can carefully think a little bit about everything. I called Camelia. I kept telling her how I felt. She got mad. She hanged off the phone on my face. I called her back. She did not answer. Sarah called me. I chose not to pick up because I had my own problem. She came to knock on the door of my room. I acted like no one was in the room. I did not say a word. I did not know what I would say to her. I had promised her that I would call her. Still, I did not give up in Camelia. I called her. She never picked up. I texted her. She did not text back. Nothing worked. I tried to contact her on Facebook. She did nothing in return. I called Betty. The first thing that she told me was that Sarah was in tears. Sarah said that I never called her. She never heard from me. She called me. I did not pick up. She texted me. I did not text her back. I have my own problem, I responded to Betty. I really do not have time for a thing like that. I told Betty that I never heard from Camelia. The girl does not like you, said Betty. Leave her alone. Sarah is the one who loves you. If you want to get in contact with Camelia or stay friends with her, you have to stop annoying her. After a while, something came to my mind. I was confused. I felt pain. I was desperate. My eyes were watering. No one could take off the tears in my eyes. It could be painful to stay friends with her if I could not have her. It could be worse if I could not talk to her at all. She could comfort me if I stayed friends with her. But if I stayed friends with her, it could be difficult for me to express my feeling to her. I do not know what to do, I said to myself. One day, I was in my room. I took my radio and a disc. I recorded my voice. I wanted to say something to Camelia. As I listened to the recording of my words, I could feel all my pain. I felt my tribulation. I felt my anguish. I perceived my deepest pain. I felt that my life was in darkness. I needed Camelia's presence to brighten my life. After a couple of days, Betty was at the university. I gave her the disc. I said to her, "May you give this disc to Camelia for me, please?" She took it. She said that she would give it to Camelia. "Thank you," I said. She responded, "You are welcome." Betty said goodbye to me. She left. After a couple of days, I received a letter. I went to my room. I opened the letter. The letter was from Sarah. As I read the letter, I felt not only Sarah's pain but also my pain. I could feel that it looked like that we both were going through the same situation. Unfortunately, I could not help her out. I had to take care of the problems that I had. My paramount goal at that time was having Camelia. I felt that being friend with Camelia would not be adequate for me to ease my pain, but having her would completely change my life. After I read that letter, my phone rang. It was a call from Camelia. I felt so happy. I thought that the words that I had recorded persuaded her. "Camelia," I said. "How are you doing? It is wonderful to hear from you." "Are you crazy?" responded Camelia abruptly. I felt pain again. "I want you to stop annoying me," she said. "Don't ever presume to send anything from any other party. Leave me alone. If you do not, I will put you in big trouble. I swear. I swear. I swear to God." I promised. She hanged off the phone on my face without any excuse. After that phone call, I felt more pain than ever before. My face showed distress, and as I closed my eyes, drops slowly ran down my face. I had wiped my eyes so much, as a result, they were red and swollen. When I went to look around, my vision was blurry, it was difficult for me to see clearly. I was the blank, emotionless expression swept over my face as the realization of the moment gradually seeped in. The fear seemed to rise behind my eyes. Like a caged animal, I laid there. Paralyzed by the tragic feeling of isolation, I closed my eyes and gazed into fields of nothingness. I felt the water creep out of my eyes, and I gently whispered to myself, I will die. I could not believe that I was in a reality. What should I do now? I said to myself. I will continue until the end. No matter what happens, I'll take it. The next day had come. I woke up early. I took a shower. I wore the clothes that I liked the most. Everyone liked it when I wore it. After a while, I walked quickly. When I arrived at the communication building, I sat on the floor, waiting for Camelia in front of her class. The communication building was built in a manner that nobody would want to take their eyes away from looking at it. It was a ground floor building. By looking at it, everyone may feel that the building was too gigantic. But as someone entered the building, he or she would come to know that it was very spacious, but the classes were next to each other. The interior looked so beautiful. The bottom half of the building were the restrooms, and the top half were the classes. The classes were amazing because their locations and views make them very desirable. The floor had been decorated by greenish-color marbles, and the top part of the building was decorated with palm trees, which were made out of cement. It was very beautiful. Everything had been arranged properly. The sequences of the rooms were really good. All the classes were placed where they were supposed to be, so they added to the beauty of the building. The building had gardens all around it. Anyone who looked at these gardens would really enjoy the beauty of the nature too, because it was in a hilltop and because it provided a beautiful view of the city. It was marvelous. It was the tallest building in the city, with about 50 floors. It had a huge glass tower, but it definitely stood out. It had become a famous building in the city and at the school. You could see it as you approached Manchester, and it was an easy place to meet people because it was so distinctive and easy to find. The most interesting thing about the Science Building was that there was a bar restaurant on the 23rd floor, which had spectacular views of the city and the school. It was definitely the best vantage point in the city because there were no walls, only huge windows, so you could look out over the city in any direction. It was my last semester at the university. I did really want Camelia. I wanted to have her before I graduated. As a result, I did all I could. Camelia was getting out of class. I saw her. I stood up. Hey, I said to her. Leave me alone, responded Camelia. I am going to put you in big trouble. I did promise you. You will be in big trouble. I promise you. She walked away. She said nothing. I was alone. I was sitting in front of the class. I felt that I got humiliated by the one that I loved, the one that my heart and my soul really wanted. I put my head down, another day was coming. I was alone in my room. The pain was still there. I did not know what to do. I laid down on my bed, taking deep breath to comfort myself. I felt so sad and uncomfortable. I called Camelia. Unfortunately, she did not answer the phone. I tried to sleep, but I could not sleep. I tried to eat, but I could not eat. I tried to watch TV in order to entertain myself or to ease my pain, but nothing worked. I listened to love songs in order to alleviate or to lessen the pain, but it became worse and more severe. I did not know what to do. The pain was complicatedly excruciating and was absolutely untreatable. After a while, my phone rang. It was a call from a police officer at the university. He told me that he wanted me to come to see him at his office now. What is your name? I asked him. He responded, Captain Ferdinand. What is wrong? I asked. You know what is wrong, he said. You look suspicious. I want you to come to see me now. From there, I knew that something was wrong. He went on to say, I am not going to kick you out at the university, but I want to talk to you. The deeper moment of frustration came after that phone call. For all my life, I had never been confronting police before for something that was wrong. After the police officer told me that he wanted to see me, I did not know what to do. I did not know what I would say to him. I decided to call my father as a result to demand him for some advices. Stay quietly, said my father. Don't say anything to them. Anything that you say can be used against you. Don't let them self-incriminate you. That is, they may take your words and use them against you. They are not your friends. Police are not people's friends. You have the right to remain silent. I said goodbye to my father. I hanged off the phone. I took a shower, dressing professionally as usual. I went outside of the village, waiting for someone to give me a ride. I saw one of my classmates. I asked him for a ride to the police station at the university. When we arrived, I shook hands with him. I said thank you to him. He made a U-turn with the car and headed back to the village. I headed to the station door, opening it. I entered in the station. There were many chairs that were made for people to sit down. I sat down on one of them. Many people were sitting also. I did not say anything to them because especially I wasn't in my mood. As I sat on the chair, Evans, one of the police officer whom I used to watch basketball with, was coming. When he saw me, he turned around without hesitation. After a while, another officer came and said, "You can come to see me." I stood up. I went to see him. "It is not like you get in trouble," he said. I smiled hopefully to myself, but I did not say anything. "We receive many complaints from many females against you," he said. "You jump on them, hugging them without permission. You kiss them. You follow them. You stay around their classes, waiting for them." The captain said that he had to take his responsibility. "This is the thing," he said. "First, you have no friend at the university. Don't hug anybody. Don't hug even people that you consider as friends. If someone doesn't say hey, don't say hey. If someone says hey, walk. Don't sit around any class that is not your class. Now, I want you to sign that for me," the officer said. He handed me a blank sheet and a pen. I took them. He said, "I want you to write, I have been made aware not to get in contact with any girl on campus." I wrote the statement in the blank sheet. The other officer said, "I want you to write, I fully understand." After I signed the paper, I was so anxious. I remained speechlessly. "You have no friend at the university," said the other officer. The captain abruptly took the paper. He said nothing. He stood up. He went straight to his office. Now, it was time for me to leave. I had to go to the village. I did not have transportation. I asked Evans, the police officer that I used to watch basketball with, for a ride. "You don't have a car?" he said. I responded, "No." He took his car. It wasn't the police car. It was a private car. It was a black one. He opened the right door for me. "You can sit in," he said. I responded, "Thank you." After a couple of seconds, he started up the car. He drove as he drove. I was speechless. I did not say a word. I wondered what was wrong. "Why you don't talk?" asked the officer. "Why you are always quiet?" "It is how I am," I responded. "I did not want to be in that thing," said the officer. "What's about if the person does not want someone to think that she is in something with you? Don't you see that I was the one who was coming to you? I went back when I saw that it was you." "It is because I know who you are." I said nothing. I just listened to what he said. I did not want to get self-incriminated by the officer. My father had told me that. As a result, I did not trust the officer. I just listened to what he said. That was all I did. I did not share anything with him. "Do you have a car?" he asked. "No," I responded. "That's why I ask you for a ride." Get mess up for a girl who is not even my girl, said the officer. If I have to get mess up, I will get mess up for someone who is my girl. I will get mess up for a girl who cares about me. I will not get mess up for someone who tries to mess me up or who is not even my girl. If someone doesn't say hey, don't say hey. Someone says hey, walk. If it is not your class, don't sit there. You are my brother. I am trying to help you out. I said nothing to the officer. I did not trust him. I wasn't sure if he was trying to self-incriminate me or help me out. I just listened to what he said. Here in the car, I saw it. I recalled it. I learned from what the officer told me. I realized it. So I recalled what my father used to tell me. Females, especially those who are your friends, are hot and cold at the same time, my father used to say to me. When they are with you alone, they would do anything with you. Hug you. Kiss you. Play with you anyhow. When they are with their boyfriends, they would pretend that they do not even know you. I realized that it seemed to be my friends who reported me to the police. My father had used to also tell me, sometimes the way that you feel for a woman is not how she feels about you. When circumstances like that present, all that you have to do is move on. If you continue to stay, you will get hurt by almost every single thing that she will do to you. I realized something. I realized that it seemed to be Camelia or Sarah that reported me to the police, but I wasn't sure. I realized that I had to be careful around my friends. I had to be careful with Camelia especially. What is wrong? I asked the policeman. Nothing, he said. The car arrived at the village. The officer opened the door for me. He shook hands with me. He left. As I walked to my room, I felt different than I had felt before. I felt more fearful. I just kept thinking about how I could go to jail, get mess up, have no chance to graduate, or get kicked out of school. School was something that I liked a lot. That brought a new type of fear in my life, the fear that I may get kicked out of school. I felt sad. I wasn't only afraid because I knew that I could go to jail or get mess up. I was also afraid because I knew that if I got kicked out of school, I deceived my parents. That would be a broken vow. Where would be the value of all the hard work of my father, the man who worked hard in the garden to educate me, if I got kicked out of school? Where would be the value of all the hard work of my mother, the lady who sold candy down the street to contribute to my education, the lady who used to wake up early every day morning to walk me to school when I was little? How my father, the man who preferred not to satisfy his needs or to pay his bills, to pay for my education or to provide for me, would feel if he heard a news like that? They would feel bad, I kept saying to myself. That became a new type of fear, a new type of pain. In my life, I did not that much feel bad about all my hard works in school, but my father's and my mother's hard works. I made a commitment to myself not to disappoint them. I said to myself, I don't want to break that vow. After a couple of days, the dean deferred me from suspension to let me graduate because of that event. That was, I would be officially suspended at the university, but the suspension was deferred. If anyone reported me at the university and the university found that I was responsible for violating the school code, I would be immediately suspended at the university in addition to all the subsequent sanctions.